Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. This movie just came out. It released both in theaters and on HBO Max, so definitely let me know in the comments below which way did you watch it. Did you check it out in theaters or on HBO Max? I personally watched it on HBO Max, and obviously it didn't lessen the experience or anything, but I do feel like if I got to see it in theaters, it definitely would have elevated the experience and just the hype level. So, I mean, if you can watch it in a theater, I feel like that definitely elevate the experience, and I definitely recommend that. But HBO Max, that's cool too. So, this movie, let's get into talking about this because there is a lot to talk about. We're going full on spoilers here. Gonna break down the biggest moment, review my thoughts on this movie. You can let me know all your thoughts on it in the comments below. But let's get into this because going into this, Godzilla versus Kong. That is what we wanted to see. Godzilla versus Kong. We wanted to see some giant titan battles, and that is exactly what we got here. They definitely delivered. And while they didn't last too long. We only got like 3 battles throughout the whole movie. Of course, with the boat battle, the Hong Kong Godzilla versus Kong battle, and then of course the Mechagodzilla battle. There were some cool battles. Like, the choreography here, I think, was awesome. I love how it was so, like, sloppy and stuff. Like, you could... It was kind of like Godzilla and Kong having, like, a bar fight or something. Just, they were pulling some dirty moves here. It was like, whoa, no rules. Rules are out the window. They're just going for it. So, I love that. And these battles were awesome. The CGI was great. And just the battles were awesome. Just these characters were awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. But... of course, one of the big complaints when it comes to really all of these MonsterVerse movies are the humans. And yeah, there's still a problem here. It's not as big of a problem as it has been in past MonsterVerse movies. A lot of the characters here I did enjoy. Obviously, I would have preferred to just focus more screen time on Godzilla and Kong. But I did enjoy some of the characters, like the little girl that could communicate with Kong. Alexander Skarsgård's character was pretty cool. Brian Tyree Henry, Millie Bobby Brown, Julian Dennison. They all had some cool characters. Honestly, didn't do much in this movie. If I'm being honest, they were kind of just there for like exposition to just kind of explain what was going on here, and other than that, they didn't really do that much. But they were fine. They were again better than what we've had in past movies. So I think that was all right. They weren't as annoying as they usually are. So yeah, humans, but all right, good enough. Now let's talk about the Hollow Earth, because that's one of the big storylines in this movie, is that Alexander Skarsgård and all the other people are trying to take Kong to the Hollow Earth, because they're trying to find the power source and everything, and when they actually get there, it's beautiful. Like, the Hollow Earth just looks amazing. Again, the CGI in this whole movie is just amazing. But especially in the Hollow Earth, like, it's just so beautiful here. You got those other weird creatures going around. I love that mini battle between Kong and, like, I don't even know what they're called, but I love how, like, they tried to suffocate him with their wings, and then he, like, ripped their head off. I mean, it was a little weird when he started drinking its blood, but it was a cool battle, and really all the creatures we saw living in this habitat, and also it was just, like, weird how you had, like, you had the ground, but then you also had, like, the upside down above, and it was weird but cool at the same time. And you had the floating rocks, and I love how as you went down further in there, how you had a full-on temple from Kong's ancestors, where you also had the axe that was made from previous generations of Godzillas, made by the Kongs to fight back against them, and you had the throne and everything, and I love that shot of when Kong sat down on the throne with the axe, and man, he looked awesome. I still wish they would actually call him King Kong, but no, he's just regular Kong. Going into this, I did have a theory that maybe if Kong won the battle, then he would become King Kong, but, obviously that's not really how it went. But, speaking of that, let's actually talk about that. Who did win in this movie? Because it is honestly a little confusing as to who won in the battle. Who won between Godzilla versus Kong? Well, Godzilla won. Basically, Godzilla won because again, you had the two main battles between those two characters. The first battle was on the boat. Godzilla clearly won that battle, but to be fair, Kong was sedated and he was chained up and everything, and he was really at a major disadvantage. He was not prepared at all. So of course, Kong won that battle. And then when we had the second battle in Hong Kong, which was just awesome, they were like destroying the whole city. Which I mean, I feel bad for Hong Kong because now literally the whole city is destroyed. Like you see just buildings toppling over. Like there's probably people inside of there. They're probably dead now, but yeah, it was just a great battle scene. And Kong, of course, had his axe now, and he was winning there. Like he was at an advantage. He was taking down Godzilla, and he like knocked him out for a bit. And we're like, and then even Alexander Skarsgård's character was like, all right, it looks like Kong won round 2. And then all of a sudden, Godzilla pops up, and then he takes out Kong. It's like, whoa, Godzilla, did you not get the memo? I mean, the round is over. Alexander Skarsgård said Kong won. You don't get to take a 5-minute break, tap out, and then come back in. Like, that's not how this works. Kong won, but then, like I said, Godzilla comes back in. He takes him out because Kong was not expecting it. And then, like, I think Godzilla just takes it way too far here. Godzilla in this movie I was just not a fan of because he was just very evil. Like, he, like, stepped on Kong and, like, really dug his claws into him and everything. Like, whoa, calm down, Godzilla. And then even before, like, how he was attacking the city and everything, like, sure it was explained as, like, he could sense Mechagodzilla or the Ghidorah head and everything, but he was still destroying cities. Like, he killed a bunch of people. So this movie really made me kind of not like Godzilla, and I was already on Team Kong from the start, but this really made me all the way on Team Kong because you really felt bad for Kong through this whole movie. They really gave him some cool human elements that I really enjoyed seeing, because that's one of the things I don't like about Godzilla is that, like, for example, in this movie, literally he only showed up during the battles and then he just fought people. Like, that's all he did. Kong, you followed his story throughout the whole movie, and you really got to see those human elements. You got to see him with his, his home thing that he said like 20 different times through this movie with the sign language, his connection with the little girl. So I love seeing that. And while it is obvious that, Godzilla did win, technically, even though it wasn't really that fair, I'll give it to Godzilla. He did win this battle, but I'm still full on Team Kong. But we did have that Mechagodzilla battle where Kong did come out on top. So let's talk about Mechagodzilla, because this was something that was supposed to be a big surprise for the movie. It was spoiled ahead of time. It was literally in the first trailer. So I mean, most people knew about this going into it, and I came up with some theories and stuff. Some were wrong, some were right, and I think Mechagodzilla was cool. It was kind of what we expected, that it would be like, all right, Godzilla and Kong would fight, and then they would team up to take down Mechagodzilla. But also Mechagodzilla was a little confusing because it was like the guy in charge of the Apex Technologies, he died, and then the guy that was controlling Mechagodzilla, he got zapped and electrocuted and everything. And I was like, well, wait, so then who is controlling Mechagodzilla now? And I think it was supposed to be that, like, it was like the spirit or the DNA of the Ghidorah head, but like, how does that even make sense? Like, how I mean, the thing is dead. Ghidorah is dead. So how, I don't know. It was really confusing and didn't really make that much sense. But, we'll go with it. Mechagodzilla looked great. He caused tons of destruction. And I loved how we got the one-on-one Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla battle. Godzilla was kind of defeated, but then Kong came out back on top. And even though he had to get some help from the humans, getting re-pumped up and everything with the boost and everything, he did need a lot of help in this movie. But Kong came out on top, just completely obliterated Mechagodzilla, just ripped him to shreds and everything. And that is the end of Mechagodzilla. So it was cool while it lasted. But yeah, so that was Mechagodzilla. But now that was pretty much the basics of what happened in this movie. Overall, not much happened in this movie. It was like, all right, Kong goes to Hollow Earth, then he goes and fights Godzilla, and then it's versus Mechagodzilla, and then it's boom, days saved, and that's it. overall, again, really just big stuff happening here. Not really a lot happened in this movie. But that was the big stuff to happen. That's kind of my thoughts on it. But now going forward, how will the story continue? Because, of course, this movie is a part of the MonsterVerse that started with Godzilla, then we had Kong Skull Island, then Godzilla King of the Monsters, and now Godzilla vs. Kong. So how will the MonsterVerse continue? Because where we left off with these characters in this movie, Godzilla just kind of like stomped off in the sunset, out in the ocean and everything, went back underwater, while Kong is now living happily at home in his new habitat of the Hollow Earth. So they basically had a nice happy ending and everything, and I assume that probably we will get, hopefully, another King Kong movie, because we got 2 Godzilla movies and only 1 Kong movie, which I really love that Kong movie. So hopefully we get a sequel to that, where now we explore his life in the Hollow Earth. I think that'd be really cool to see. Godzilla, I don't know. I assume we'll probably get a 3rd movie. No idea what it would be about. And then also, I don't know what the next big crossover would be, because this was like the big kind of like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War type of build-up that this whole universe has been setting up. So I don't know what they'd set up next, because really, they've done all the big storylines. They did Godzilla vs. Kong. They threw in Mechagodzilla. They fought Ghidorah. And those are really the big things from, like, the history of kaiju and, like, Godzilla and Kong. Like, I don't know what the next Avengers-level threat would be that you need these 2 to team up again. Unless you do, like, a Godzilla vs. Kong Part 2, or even, like, Mecha Ghidorah, which was basically Mechagodzilla because he was controlled by Ghidorah, but I don't know. So I don't really know where it's going to go from here. I just hope it does continue. I mean, if it doesn't, I think that it was a good conclusion to the MonsterVerse, but hopefully we do continue with more sequels to Kong and Godzilla and all that stuff, and then maybe even expand the franchise, start up some new monster movies. Not sure what it'd be about, but I'm definitely open to more possibilities. So yeah, guys, this was a great movie, a great addition to the MonsterVerse. I think definitely the best movie in the MonsterVerse, from the 4 movies that we have here, which, by the way, I am going to be releasing a full ranking video of the MonsterVerse, so stay tuned for that. It should be out maybe tomorrow, day after, something like that, sometime this weekend, so definitely stay tuned for that if you want to know my rankings of Godzilla, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, and of course Godzilla vs. Kong. So stay tuned for that. But guys, let me know down in the comments below, what did you think about this movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, your thoughts on it, your thoughts on Godzilla coming out on top. Technically, but still, Kong was at a disadvantage. I'm still hardcore Team Kong. So yeah. We'll see where the future takes us with the future of the MonsterVerse. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the movie life.